I want to be careful not to become that conspiracy theorist person that says, oh, the big corporations are shutting my mouth from trying to speak the truth. But the story I want to share today is, well, over the last year, over 2023, I've been trying to find a job. So in 2023, I graduated with a master's degree in biomedical engineering in Germany. And I made a CV. I applied with video applications in many jobs in medical engineering, consulting, biochemical research, PhDs. I did manage to get a couple of interviews. I didn't get a job. I still work a simple part-time job to pay my bills. But during that process, I found myself more engaged in LinkedIn. And oh my God, what a toxic, full of self-important, moralizing bullshit world LinkedIn. I wasn't on social media at all except YouTube. And the reason is I was kind of addicted to Facebook like 10 years ago. So in 2015, I quit Facebook. Basically, I unfriended everybody and I deleted the posts and I just used the messenger for messages. So I would say since 2015, I've been mostly not active on social media. And so LinkedIn was my new playground. And it's so ugly. It's so ugly. And I have this tendency to be attracted to ugliness and be the kind of asshole that will make a comment to try help them, but also try to be correct and they are wrong, this arrogant kind of prick. Anyway, I found myself writing some LinkedIn posts. And what is interesting to write, of course, is something that people feel uncomfortable with in ways that would hopefully help them see a bigger or a more accurate picture of the situation. And then I found myself deleting my posts every time I was applying for a job because oh my God, what if I find those posts and the HR department will find them like red flags? So I was cleaning up my LinkedIn posts every time I was applying for a job. Then I was like, but I stand for these words. Then I was giving myself that cowardly rationalization that yes, maybe you stand for those things, but you don't have to say them on LinkedIn. Maybe it's not the time and place to say those things. And I was realizing I am moralizing and rationalizing something wrong. Because every time people tell me, yeah, these are interesting opinions. And maybe you actually are right, but it's not the right time. It's not the right place. You're not living in the right circumstance to say these things. I'm like, really? Fuck you. Where is the right circumstance? China, North Korea? This is as free as it gets. The fact that it's getting less free is a problem, but what are you gonna do? Am I starving? So, I don't like it when other people say it to me, but when I catch my own mind saying that to me, when I catch my own mind censoring myself about things that I stand for, and I do use the rationalization and moralization, you know what, it's not that, just find a job in a company and then you can post things, but not on LinkedIn, maybe through art, and I want to do it through art for sure. But I was having that internal conflict, and so I understand that it's morally right to resist that self-censoring temptation, just in case I am a little less unemployable. And if I sound a little bit resentful, it's unfortunately because I am. So it's very likely that this has completely nothing to do with the rejections I've been receiving, because indeed my transcripts, for example, are not very good. I don't have good grades. I haven't learned good enough German. So there are legitimate reasons that are completely independent from my voicing of legitimate concerns about the Western culture that a company would have not to employ me. Zero experience. What have I been doing with my life so far? These are legitimate reasons to reject me as a candidate. So I'm not saying that I've been rejected because they have checked my LinkedIn or my YouTube and they saw it as a huge red flag. For example, the fact that I have videos about transgenderism and Satanism. But I'm pretty sure that every HR department of a big company would just dismiss me because why take the risk to hire this kind of guy? They are so committed to diversity and inclusion that they would never consider someone like me. This is how it works, right? The last few days, I wrote a couple of LinkedIn posts, and I love smelling the tension behind the persons who read them, because I see what people who follow me on LinkedIn write in their own profiles, completely idiotic, self-masturbating, delusional posts. And some of them, I'm pretty sure, when they read something I write, they were like, oh, what the fuck? I cannot say, because it's irrefutable. You cannot refute. You cannot refute. Okay, let's go through the last ones. It's 4 posts. We're gonna see 4 posts because that's all I've left, because I've deleted the other ones like an idiot, okay? So the first is a comment on the World Economic Forum, which posted a video about an AI chatbot trained on high-quality datasets to dispel climate myths. So I'm not a climate change, denial or something like that, but I'm very skeptical about, look, the database, the AI was trained using the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Basically what I said is, this is a quote from the video. Quote, climate GPT is trained on several high-quality datasets, including the Sustainable Development Goals. Is anyone else seeing a problem with training AI with goals? Watch the WF's clip and please correct my wrong or naive points. This is a very smart move. I recommend you do this all the time because you immediately filter out stupid, offensive call-outs and criticism. The moment you welcome criticism, they cannot say you're just stupid. You kind of make them feel that if they would answer, they would have to justify that because you welcome that. And this is how, instead of reaction, you get silence, especially in LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is not like, I don't know, Twitter or other places where you can be an asshole and just insult me for my comment. So here, the people who would insult me on Twitter would probably be silent. And I don't have a big following anyway, like 1,100 people. Here's my take. Goals are by definition bad data to train a model for factual accuracy. Goals are the conclusions of digested data and can definitely be poorly formulated, intentionally or unintentionally. Goals are conclusions. You cannot create reliable LLMs, that's large language models, by having them digest conclusions big organizations and committees have already made as if they were cold facts about the world. So if they train AI to respond with goals, goals-oriented response versus facts-oriented response, this is a different way to train an AI model, which I don't approve of. I cannot pretend I understand if the WF is for good. My suspicion is overall it's not. But I understand how science works, and that is not science. It's science-based or science-washed imperatives. And then I commented on myself, but should I read it? Okay. And if this post smells like climate change denial, that's, I would argue, a huge problem. One can acknowledge the dangers of climate change and be skeptical of the WF's initiatives at the same time. I'm giving a longer take. My take, climate change is a problem. What the WEF and Sustainable Development Goals advocate for is far from a reasonable solution. Emergency vibes, climate anxiety, and the radicalization of everyday people only harm us. The solutions come in the style of replacing CFCs, which is the chlorofluorocarbon things that destroy the ozone layer, to spare the ozone layer, thinning packaging, slowly replacing the most polluting energy production facilities to renewables and nuclear, lower carbon footprint of food, etc. I did not do a very good job proofreading this post. All those are hard to sell to the public, deep infrastructure changes. No need to sell it to me and my family though, just change things in ways that don't hurt the poor and make the rich feel virtuous. Here is where the initiatives I criticize do a good job in capturing the virtue signaling desire of the wealthy. And I've said it before, Greta Thunberg has a positive aspect in her naive activism, in that for every 1,000 people she sends in clinical depression, there will be also a large number of people, I don't know, I cannot speculate how many, who actually, feel this guilt, but they're comfortable enough to give a lot of resources to help toward reducing climate change problems. And if they invest in the right resources and they accelerate renewables technology, we can get to a better place faster. Fair enough. Is it a net positive thing? I don't know. It's difficult to say. I mean, is it net positive that Greta Thunberg had all this hype around her cause? Would the world be a better place if the whole Greta Thunberg thing hadn't happened? I cannot speak to that. I'm 50-50. So, good job with virtue signaling, but 2 problems. 1, the solutions the rich pay for in exchange for virtue are often harming the initiatives themselves, for example, phasing out nuclear. And 2, the stress trickles down and damages lower income families, families escaping poverty, and kids. There is a character limit. Dedicated, science-first-minded pressure groups need to push sustainability policies that just work for the everyday people and kind of work for the ones who can afford it because they feel like heroes. And we see a lot of Germans who have a lot of money investing them for charity and sustainable causes and stuff like that. And good for them, good for them. That's not easy. Show me a better way. Terrorizing everyday people, including kids, to justify humanitarian crisis. Again, the word justifying is not good. So they accept humanitarian crisis where cheap energy becomes illegal is not the way to go. Of course, no one commented. Crickets. Next post. This is a goosebump-inducing video from Jordan Peterson.
I just don't understand how it gets to the point where
54
things
seconds.
get to terrible
54
places
seconds.
one tiny step at a time. You know, if I encroach on you and I'm sophisticated about it, I'm going to encroach 2 millimeters. I'm going to encroach right to the point where you start to protest. Then I'm going to stop. Then I'm going to wait. Then you're going to calm down. Then I'm going to encroach again right to the point where you protest. Then I'm going to stop. Then I'm going to wait. And I'm just going to do that forever. And before you know it, you're going to be back 3 miles from where you started, and you'll have done it one step at a time. And then you'll go, oh, how'd I get here? And the answer was, well, I pushed you a little farther than you should have gone, and you agreed. And so then I pushed you a little farther than you should have gone again, and you agreed. And if anybody's interested in this sort of process, and this is a horrifying book, if you want to read about how this process works, you can read a book called Ordinary Men by Robert Browning.
I pushed you a little further than you should have gone, and you agreed. And so then I pushed you a little further than you should have gone again, and you agreed. So why do you agree? Because you want to be kind, you want to be considerate, you don't want any trouble. People keep telling me, hey, you don't want to get yourself in any trouble. What trouble? Bring it on. Who can say that I'm speaking things that are harmful? And if I do, please say to me to change my course, but explain me. What am I missing? What am I doing wrong? You can be kind, considerate, and compassionate to every single person you interact with individually without respecting the ideas they carry or tolerate. I do that with religious people as well. It's not only the woke crazies, okay? In fact, pretending to agree, accept, affirm is far from respecting. It's lying. And this lying I elaborate later in a very good comment, I think. So, speak up. When you speak up with love, all parties win. They listen to a caring concern. It's a concern, it's not an attack. They may teach you what you miss, or instead see what they miss, or a bit of both. Shine on my blind spots and let me shine on yours. I do it all the time. I'm doing it right now, by the way. They usually respect me back. Actually, that's true. I've received much more respect than I expect. That humbles me in my conspiracy theory mind that thinks I'm being attacked. I'm not attacked yet, okay? They usually respect me back because I question doctrines, not individuals. Also because I understand I may be wrong and often learn how. It's not like I've been wrong with so many things. A brave woman liked this post. I'm not gonna give her name away. So I think this is a good text. Unfortunately, we don't like feeling like liars to others, so we opt for lying to ourselves first. That way, everybody seems to be on the same page while the king is still naked and erect. That way, acceptance of the absurd feels honest. Hopefully, there's still moments of sanity when we feel horribly about ourselves. We often don't identify why. It's because we demoralize ourselves to a husk. We pretend dignity is not a big deal if we don't call it one. That should be bringing symptoms of mental illness. It's an unusual idea. I cannot prove it, but I believe that if we spoke to each other more honestly, we would help us lying to ourselves less, and mental health problems would very much decline. It's very hard to see how this is wrong. I cannot, tell me I'm wrong there. And if I'm not wrong, this is very important. This is extremely important. Everybody that has the balls to live like that, that has the spine to live like that, we should. And if we don't have it, we should build it. Your job is to build the fortitude, the mental fortitude, to speak honestly, to not lie to yourself first, so you can feel horrible about when you lie. You can feel guilty, you can feel shame. Bring back self-guilt. This is where God was and is so useful, okay? If you don't have God to be shameful and guilty toward, you become so arrogant and you become insufferable and you ruin your life and other people's lives. So speak up, not with anger, maybe with some passion, with love, but do speak up. You know, there's this sentiment which I really love, which is, you fucking stupid, I love you so much, you stupid, 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 I love you, I love you. It's not hate, it's overwhelming love. But it presupposes that you know very well what you're talking about. Or if not, the other person must be also strong enough to call you out and tell you, you know what, you love me the wrong way. So don't be mad. This is why I don't like all these channels that have sprouted making fun of brainwashed victims of that culture. Nice people, you know, nice people who call themselves based. They make whole careers of making videos, making fun of disgustingly idiotic and harmful and manipulated victims of that culture. And I don't like that. I don't like to point fingers to people. I like to point fingers to attitudes. And I only have the urge and the desire to call people out when they're being so outrageously dangerous that, first of all, I think they should, be prosecuted. So, for example, that woman, she's still free. She's a guy. Okay, my bad. Does she, this kind of creature deserve love? Maybe. But Ehrlich has harmed so many people. He has ruined what I don't care. See, I'm gonna use he. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. You think it matters? He has ruined so many families that, it's like a serial killer that has maybe a brain tumor. Okay, and you say, oh, you had a brain tumor. I'm so sorry for you. It was not you, it was your tumor. And Robert Sapolsky has some very good points about it. So we can be compassionate even to that creature, but the most compassionate thing to do would be to lock her, this shit, in jail. And the most beautiful moment of his life would be in jail, crying, to understand how much harm he has done to the world, and have a spiritual, religious, whatever experience, and apologize, and try to spare as many people as possible. That would be the best life Ehrlich can have. So my limit is this kind of people that publicly, shamelessly advocate for the worst possible lives for some kids and families. But, your everyday rainbow hair, idiot woman that is in HR or whatever, don't be mean to her, It's like some compassion, you know what? And of course, if you have to interact on a daily basis and be submitted to all that smug, entitled arrogance, it may be harder. I say that in the comfort of my desk, being here in front of the internet, which I can shut down anytime, but yeah. All right, that's another one that received crickets because, of course. All right, look at this outrageous thing I said. To reject a competent candidate biased against their race, gender, age, etc. is unfair negative discrimination, a wrong rejection criterion, a false negative. To accept an incompetent candidate based in favor of their race, gender, age, etc. is unfair positive discrimination, boo, scary shit, a wrong acceptance criterion, a false positive. Filling up responsible positions with incompetent diversity hires, some of whom sooner or later make a huge mess, as we constantly see, so the Harvard's president or so, not only doesn't help solve unfair discrimination, but instead feeds the old school racist, sexist narrative with what they consider evidence for their sexism and racism, which of course has everything to do with poor choice of individuals, not with race or sex. Just to rub salt in the wound, thoughts? Well, of course, zero thoughts. Because who can argue with that? I'm the only one who can reasonably argue. No, not the only one, but I can formulate the argument of, affirmative action, but not in the positions of responsibility. So I'm actually elaborating, and here's the elaboration. And this is also a very good comment. Is it weird to praise my own writing? I feel a bit weird, but I write things that I would like to read, So I say filling up responsible positions with incompetent diversity. What do we want to do? We want to take incompetent people, white, black, men, women, just incompetent people, like me. I'm completely incompetent in some things, and make them competent for the position they would like to work in. That's how training works, okay? And here, yes, you can do quota, you can subsidize, you can give scholarships, okay? So why is that such a difficult topic? Responsible is key in the statement above. I'm all for accessible, even subsidized training and practicing opportunities to bring everyone who can brain it and stomach it. Not everybody has the intelligence, also not everybody has the mental or physical strength for some positions. But the ones who have, we want them, we need them. We need the surgeons. Not everybody can be a surgeon. Everybody that could be a surgeon should be a surgeon, okay? So to bring everyone who can brain it and stomach it to high-level competence. And then hire them fair and square. So educate them. The compensatory action, the leveling of unfair development circumstances where somebody grew up poor and uneducated and the other grew up wealthy, should happen at the level of education and training, not at the level of doing the fucking job. How did we miss that? How did we miss that very, very important difference between training for a job and doing the job? And this is the last one. I wrote this right now. Okay. Delusional mothers. She's gonna be fine. Look, she likes it. Plus, cowardly fathers. Okay, never mind. You don't want to argue with your wife. Make neglected children, which is fat, screen addicted, antisocial, often aggressive, very unpleasant to be around. Have you noticed that pattern, or it's just me? I'm pretty sure that I will also receive zero feedback on that, because you cannot call women delusional and men cowardly. Well, you can call men cowardly, and we should if they act like it. And we should call women delusional when they act like it, but considerately, not to their face. Don't publicly shame people. So here's the right thing to do. Let me explain. Shame bad behaviors and actions publicly without naming people who do them. So this is what I did now. And this is a difficult thing. When I see a mother being a horrible mother, just leaving her 5-year-old on the tablet, or a father, if there is an interactive environment where the child could interact and they feed them the tablet, maybe I shouldn't go to their face and say, you fucking piece of shit, you're gonna destroy your child's life. It's like the vegan guys that they are correct in that we should produce and eat less meat. I agree with that. But they go to the grocery stores and throw the meat in the floor. Like, what the fuck is that? Okay, chill. The videos you put online about how bad eating meat is, good for you. And I eat meat and I say that. Then, question friends' bad behaviors privately. So if you're my friend and if your 5-year-old already owns a tablet and he or she plays with it all the time, I'm gonna fucking say something to you in private, not in front of a group, not in front of your friends and family, not online, socially, shame you. Look, my friend and his child, look at them. Like, no, privately. I don't know why I put so many exclamation marks. That's, in my opinion, a decent way to speak up if we want to possibly have an effect and not just feel good for ourselves for being activists and just screaming some truths. It doesn't matter. What we are seeking is the change of behavior. If we are correct, if the direction I'm advocating for is actually healthier, and I should be checking myself also, but nobody gives me, here's the problem. I have to find my own criticism and feedback because I have become good enough at rationalizing my points that people cannot argue with them. That's why I'm trying to find extreme cases like the flat earth to test myself. Can I convince someone the earth is flat? Is my convincing toolkit and skill so competent that I can convince someone about something completely absurd? And if I manage to do that, that means I am in big danger of defending any idea that I feel good with. I can build it up to the most reasonable and ethical idea, and it can still be wrong. So that's why I'm trying to do that trick with horrible ideas to humble myself. But it would be useful if I had very intelligent people to call me out on my bullshit. Right now I don't have friends who are into that sport, if I may call it. So I have to play chess with myself to try prevent me from becoming a delusional, arrogant prick. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.